10,000 recently naturalized Russian citizens drafted, sent to war in Ukraine, official says.
Here's a summary of the article.
Share. Facebook, Twitter, email copy link. Around 10,000 immigrants to Russia who have recently received their Russian passports have been drafted into the military and sent to the front lines, a Russian official said during a press conference on Thursday, June 27. The men in question are part of a group of some 30,000 freshly minted Russian citizens who have reportedly been caught failing to register for obligatory military service, Alexander Bystrykin, head of the investigative committee of the Russian Federation, told the press. Back in October 2023, Bystrykin said that naturalized citizens who decline their military summons may see their Russian citizenship revoked. As recently as March 31, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree to conscript 150,000 people into the military as a part of the semi-annual draft. Under Russian law, conscripts cannot be sent to fight abroad. Still, the Kremlin has been skirting its own regulations from the onset of the war, and this was made even easier to justify to the Russian public after sham referendums held in occupied territories in late September 2022, which resulted in Moscow proclaiming the annexation of the Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions, even parts of them that are not under actual Russian control. Very quickly after the February 2022 invasion, it became apparent that the Russian losses were greater than expected, and the war would not be the quick excursion the Russians had hoped for, forcing the Kremlin to relax the minimal requirements for military service several times. Drafting new citizens is one way to do it, but Russia has also actively attempted to recruit citizens of surrounding nations, such as Armenia and Kazakhstan, as well as more distant ones, for example West African states ruled by Kremlin-friendly military juntas, as well as South Asian countries suffering from economic crises, such as Sri Lanka and Nepal.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Greater than the men in question are part of a group of some 30,000 freshly minted Russian citizens who have reportedly been caught failing to register for obligatory military service. Seriously, where are they finding them? Sounds like it could include people from the occupied territories that were forced to replace their Ukrainian passports with Russian ones.
It's usually labor migrants. The construction sites and such are raided and people are rounded up.
Hi, I'm an able-bodied male and I've decided my next step is to become a Russian citizen. Because that seems like it would be super cool.
You make it sound like it's a choice for PPL in the occupied territories. My cousin in Donetsk just got a new Russian passport one day.
And if he didn't get Russian passport, we wouldn't be allowed to work legally, and probably not be able to get medical care and such. I also have a cousin in Donetsk.
This is the fate that the North Koreans will suffer.
I mean, their fate in North Korea probably wasn't too much better. Hell, maybe some of them will frag an officer and desert.
NK will imprison and kill their families if they get caught doing that.
Sure, but some of them have to be childless. They mostly teens and early 20s. And orphans, there are a lot in North Korea. And there's probably like a 50-50 chance of their families being sent to some prison farm on Trump charges anyway.
Childless doesn't mean you don't have mom, dad, sisters, brothers, grandparents, etc. You'd basically have to be an orphan to be able to escape without dooming someone close to you. And your future generations, since NK imprisons your future generations as part of the punishment.
I said childless and orphaned.
If this did happen, I also think the chaos of war in an active combat zone could hide a lot. Russia and North Korea, well, not as much, as we've seen. So far from North Korea and China, I would expect North Korea's knowledge and control to be less absolute. A deserter wouldn't necessarily declare that they are a deserter named Hong Il-dong of rank from location.
Agreed. Even Russians don't get straight answers about the fate of their children. Some of it is cover-ups, like the Moskva sub was for weeks by Russia, but I think often it's just incompetence. The fate of North Koreans could slip through the cracks quite easily, I think. Their regime is not sending their families. Hell, it's probably people with little info and no connections to anyone.
Citizenship Guarantees Service. Would you like to know more?
I think the Battle of Klandatu had a lower causality rate than Russia's war in Ukraine.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.